The neon sign flickered, buzzing, a low electric hum that vibrated in the back of my teeth. I stood there, mid-laugh, clutching a warm beer. My chest felt like an empty elevator shaft. Gravity was pulling at my ribs, but my mouth stayed wide, a perfect, practiced arc. I was the life of the party. The punchline landed. Everyone roared. I felt the vibration of their joy against my skin, but it didn't soak in. It just beaded off like oil on water. The room smelled of stale cigarettes and cheap perfume. It was suffocating. I leaned back against the peeling wallpaper, feeling the grit. Another joke, another round of applause. My jaw started to ache. It's a specific kind of pain, the kind you get from holding a mask steady while the face underneath is collapsing. I looked at my hands. They were steady. That was the lie. Why was I the only one who could hear the screaming? I slipped away during the peak of the music. No one noticed. That's the trick to being the funniest man in the room. You become a bright, blinding light. People look at the light, but they never look into it. The hallway was cold, quiet. The bass from the living room thudded through the floorboards like a dying heart. I walked toward the bathroom. I needed a mirror. I needed to see if the cracks were showing yet. The fluorescent light overhead was brutal. It stripped away the shadows I'd carefully curated. I leaned over the sink. Cold water. I splashed it on my face. It didn't wake me up. It just made me wet. I looked at the man in the glass. He looked back with wide, manic eyes. The smile was still there, etched into the corners of his mouth. It wouldn't leave. It was a muscle spasm of the soul. I remembered the morning, the way the sunlight hit the floor of my empty apartment. No one laughed there. In the silence, the weight returns. It sits on your shoulders like a lead coat. You can't breathe. You can't move. You just wait for the sun to go down so you can put the costume back on. The party continued on the other side of the door. I heard Sarah laughing. She has a high, clear laugh. It used to make me feel something. Now it just sounded like glass breaking. I reached into my pocket and felt the crumpled receipt from the hospital. What happens when the audience stops clapping? I closed my eyes. The silence in the bathroom was louder than the music. It was a roar, a vacuum. I thought about the bridge, not the metaphor, the literal one, the cold iron of the railing, the way the wind feels when you're high enough to see the curvature of the earth. I had stood there 3 nights ago. I didn't jump. I just watched the water. It looked heavy. It looked like it could hold all the things I couldn't carry. I straightened my tie. My fingers were numb. I practiced the face. 1, 2, 3. There it is, the I'm fine look, the everything is great squint of the eyes. I walked back out. The air hit me, warm, humid, smelling of sweat and celebration. I saw them, my friends, my family. They were waiting for the next bit, the next story, the next reason to forget their own mundane lives. "Hey, where'd you go?" someone shouted. I didn't hesitate. I didn't stumble. I stepped into the center of the circle. "Just checking the structural integrity of the plumbing," I said. They laughed. It was a good line, fast, witty. Inside, the elevator was still falling. I watched myself from the ceiling. That's how it feels sometimes. Disassociation. I'm a puppeteer pulling strings on a body that doesn't want to move. The music shifted, a slow song. People started to pair off. The energy dipped. This is the danger zone, the quiet parts. When the noise stops, the thoughts catch up. I moved to the balcony. The city stretched out like a circuit board. Millions of lights, millions of people. How many of them were doing this right now? How many people were laughing through a throat of sand? The receipt in my pocket felt like it was glowing.
The doctor had used words like chronic and imbalance. He used words that sounded like a life sentence. He didn't understand. It's not a chemical problem. It's a ghost problem. I looked at the person next to me, a stranger. She looked happy, truly happy. It was offensive. I wanted to shake her. I wanted to ask her how she did it. How do you let the light in without it burning you down? If I told the truth, would they even believe me? I took a breath. The air was thin. I felt a hand on my shoulder. It was Mark, good old Mark. He's known me since we were kids. He looked at me, really looked at me for a second. "You okay, man?" he asked. The question is a trap. It's a test of the armor. "Never better," I said. My voice was perfect, not a tremor. "Just thinking about that burger place we went to in '09. He chuckled. He bought it. Everyone buys it when you sell it with enough conviction. The party died. They always do. The lights came up. The mess remained. Red cups, half-eaten cake, the debris of a good time. I walked home. The streets were slick with rain. My shoes made a rhythmic clicking sound on the pavement. Click, click, click. The apartment was exactly how I left it. Dark, static. I sat on the edge of my bed. I didn't turn on the lights. I didn't take off my shoes. I just sat there. The smile finally fell. It didn't drop off. It crumbled. My face felt heavy. My skin felt tight. I reached out and touched the wall. Cold, solid. I wasn't laughing anymore. The silence was back, and this time it brought the shadows with it. I lay back. The ceiling was a void. Tomorrow I'll wake up. I'll drink my coffee. I'll put on the suit, and I'll find something to laugh about. Because the only thing scarier than the pain is the thought of everyone seeing it. The screen fades to black. The hum of the neon sign returns. Then nothing.